What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the World Animal Foundation. Today I'm covering the Furry Series 3 collar versus the Halo 3rd generation collar. Now obviously there's a 3 in both of those names, so these are 3rd generation collars. They've had previous iterations that have been popular throughout the smart collar market, and they're on their 3rd go around. So I've got both of these collars in hand. As a matter of fact, if you're interested in looking at either the Halo 3rd generation specifically or the Furry Series 3 collar specifically, I have videos on both of those, so feel free to check those out. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button before we get started, because we've got a lot of information to cover today, and those likes and subscriptions help keep the ball rolling downhill for me and keep these product reviews coming. When it comes to the design differences in these collars, the difference really is night and day. This is a Furry Series 3 collar, and anybody, the undiscerning observer on the outside looking in, is not going to be able to tell the difference between this and just a regular everyday dog collar. The technology is in that piece right there. That is all that encompasses the Furry Series 3 right there. Now obviously the Halo is a lot different. It's big, it's bulky, it's dense, it's thick, and it's heavy. This is more like a standard collar. It's lightweight, as you imagine a regular old dog collar would be. So the differences there are pretty drastic. Now, they both charge in a very similar way using magnets. The Halo 3 uses this little piece that pops onto the bottom, and obviously your USB cable plugs in right there, and that's how it charges. The Furry, a little more simplistic. You've got your base here that's usually plugged into the a micro USB, and the Furry simply sits right on top of it and charges. Now, in general, you're going to have your whole collar here, so you can just kind of lay it across the base, so it's very simple, easy to charge. Take the collar off, pop it down on the base, you're ready to go. Same with the Halo. There's really no difference in ease of charging, so to speak. Now, the entire collar here for the Furry is this with metal clasps, and I love this feature about it. It is extremely strong. This isn't like Coke can metal. This isn't going anywhere. The dogs are not going to play fight with each other and chew their way through this. It's not going anywhere. It's strong, and the collar material itself is about what you'd expect from a collar. It's sturdy, it's strong. Like I said, the differences between the two collars are pretty drastic in terms of just physical details. But the only other differences I can really think of is the Halo's perfect fit system. When you get a Halo, it comes with the tools necessary to adjust the collar size, and once you get it adjusted to the size of your dog's neck, and you can do the 2 fingers inserted there, you've got enough space so you're not choking your dog to death. They're just traditional collars. You resize them according to the fit of your dog's neck, and it's as simple as that, using just your basic loop system here. You adjust it till you get the right size, and then you clamp it on their neck. Now, it does take a little bit of finagling to get this piece on initially, but once you figure out how it works, it's all magnetic. That just pops out, slides down and off, and it's that simple. Once you have this on here, though, you don't have to worry about taking it on and off anymore, because like I said, you can just lay the whole collar down on the base, and it's charging without any issues whatsoever. So they're both fairly simplistic in how they operate in terms of just charging them up and whatnot, but they're obviously drastically different in terms of their physical weight, their dimensions, and just the size and overall look of either collar on your dog's neck. People that see the Furry Series 3 are going to think your dog has nothing more than a regular collar on him. People see the Halo, it's a big bulky collar. They know that there's something going on there, that's a different kind of collar.
So to test the Furry collar, we've come outside here, and as of this moment, we are outside of the safety boundary I set up with the Furry collar, and as you can see on the iPad, absolutely nothing is going off. So that's not a good look for the Furry. Aries is right here with me, and as you can see, Athena is behind me, and nothing. One thing that I will say the Furry Series 3 is doing is keeping an accurate track of their activity. As the dog's moving around the yard, it's counting steps, adding things together, and that's currently in motion. But thus far, no, as you can see, she's running around back there and no alerts for stepping outside of the safe zone. All right, so what I'm going to do here is test the Halo 3 out, show how accurate it is when I cross the fence boundary. And the reason I have it on my shoulder and not on my dog is because I don't want my dog to learn that I've changed the fence border further inward, so that I can show y'all how it works. And the last thing I want is him getting all confused about it. So I put it on my shoulder right here. We're going to walk it out, and it should, you know, in previous videos it's worked just fine, and it's always worked well with my dog. So we'll get a give y'all a bird's eye view of how this works and how accurate it is. So let's start walking off towards the boundary, and as you can see, even with a heavy tree cover, it's following right along with me. And it's probably going to set the collar off and make a whole lot of noise, so I'll stop the video at that point, get the collar turned off, and then start it again. So we're right at the boundary. Should get myself, there it goes. Now you can see how accurate that was, and it's going to keep making noises until I go back. That's not as bad as I thought it was. It's vibrating my shoulder pretty good though, and you probably can't hear that. But as you can see, Halo leaves the notifications on screen so I can come and see those exclamation points later on. All right, so now we're looking at the Fi Series 3 collar, and although it doesn't track you actively as you move, you won't see your little dot on your map moving along wherever you go. It is pretty accurate in updating you, you know, once you reach your final location. I would say it's probably a little slower than the Halo. Failed to react in the yard earlier, but once I stepped out and headed up this way, it did give me an alert once I was pretty much out of the yard in the vehicle. As soon as you pull up the app, it's already, as you can see here, it's already got me pretty much where I'm at. So it's accurate on locating me. And then to track lost dog, you just hit the track lost dog button. And let's see, the Halo 3 took what, 29 seconds or so to track down the lost dog. So let's see how long this takes. According to this, it says you'll receive live location in about 15 seconds. That was a little quicker. So it's got me. I'm right here where it is accurate. I can see that I'm in the baseball parking lot. So I think that was a pretty successful test and a little quicker than what the Halo gave me, even though the Fi Series 3 was not as accurate in terms of the safe zone that I have set up in my yard. We were sitting well outside that safe zone and it was not going off. But as far as the lost dog tracking goes here, it looks like it was pretty successful. Now that may be because I have a heavy tree canopy, so that does make a difference with a lot of different smart collars. So here I am, we're doing another car test, and the biggest reason I do these little car tests is because I have to use multiple devices to show you what's going on with the app, and, you know, obviously record myself at the same time talking to you about what's going on in the app. I have to have the collars with me. I have to, you know, press different things on the app to get it to do what I want it to do so that I can show you what's going on. Bringing the dogs along with me for that trip, you know, 2 rambunctious dogs, trying to walk them outside, that's just asking for absolute craziness. So I do these little, you know, car videos so I can get outside of the fence and, you know, show you how to track the collars and how it's going to work for both the Halo 3 and the Fi Series 3. But I'm going to start with the Halo here, and basically all you need to do is go into the app, select settings, select my collars. I've got Aries' collar with me right now, so you scroll down a little bit, or actually you don't scroll down, it's right here, find collar. Find now, and let's see how well it works. Now keep in mind, the Halo 3 uses universal cell coverage, so it uses basically whatever cell tower is closest. And of course it says the internet's poor right here, which it's really not, but you can hear the collar going off, so it did locate it. And that's all there was to it. It did take, it says on here, 29 seconds. It says on here it took 29 seconds to locate it, and let's see if it shows you on the map. It shows me well outside my area, even though the background map is a little fuzzy here. There it goes. It shows me down, I'm parked at the park, and that's exactly where I am. So it's accurate on the map, and it took 29 seconds to set the collar off, and as you could hear, it gets progressively louder. So, you know, if you're tracking your dog and you're kind of closing in on him, that will be very helpful. It doesn't have a light on it like the Fi Series 3, So you'll definitely have to just use the, you'll have to go off the audible cues that the collar provides, which, as I showed earlier in the video, you can change to different sounds, different tones, vibrations, and whatnot. So drawing out a halo fence is relatively simple. All you got to do is open up the fencing underneath your dog. You know, in my case, it's Aries and Athena, but for Aries here, just as an example, you pull up the fence underneath the dog's name and go to work on it. You can move it in a bunch of different little directions. It's a little clunky to work with, but it's pretty accurate. And then you save it and move on. With the 5 Series 3, it's a little bit different. You can see down there, I can select the square version or stick with the circle version. The circle just gets bigger and smaller, but the square version allows me to do what the Halo allows me to do, and is be a little more customizable in how I want the fence size to be. And of course, the Halo throws up various alerts depending on what's going on with your fence. You can find your location on the map, change the fence modes. You can turn them on, turn them off with relative ease, and of course check your notifications, where it compiles all of your notifications over the last few days and keeps them in one quick place, easy for you to access. The fence itself, it will display the little exclamation points, as you can see there, so you know not only that your dog crossed that area, but exactly where the dog crossed and how deep the dog went into that zone. And like I said, you can turn the fences on and off, but you also got Halo beacons here, which you can activate, and those come with the collar. That's something that the 5 Series lacks. Now, the 5 Series has a bunch of different options in the right-hand column that you can drop down. The notifications are pretty simple. They stack up just like they do on the Halo, but you can change some things around if you want, in terms of what alerts you're getting and when, and how your phone, accepts those alerts. And then you can test them on the collar as you see fit if you want to hear what kind of notifications you're getting. But the collar makes no sound. There's no sound or vibration or anything like that on the collar. It's all it all happens on your phone, and there's no movement on the map whatsoever. And similar to the Halo, the 5 Series keeps a lot of information on one page, and it also does some pretty extensive activity tracking. Now, much of this is similar to the Halo, but I think the 5 Series 3 takes it a little bit farther, especially with their sleep and activity, how often your dog is running, and it breaks all of these things down into a variety of different color bar graphs, so you can tell what's going on. And it also keeps track of where you've been, where your dog has gone with the collar, and displays it on a nice little map for you. So in terms of connectivity, the 5 Series 3 uses GPS and LTE-M. Now, the GPS is self-explanatory. The LTE-M is a version of LTE, and it's purely on the AT&T network, but it's basically a wavelength that's designed solely for the Internet of Things. It's not a typical LTE that you use, with your smartphone, and that probably explains the slowness and accuracy that we experienced earlier, how slow it was to react to me being outside, me and the dogs being well outside of the invisible fence that I drew to begin with. But it was accurate when it came down to tracking the dog and locating exactly where I was when I took the car out earlier. So that's a promising sign, and it was more accurate in my previous review of the collar, both outside in the backyard and off in the car as well. Now, the Halo 3 is much more robust when it comes to wireless communication. It uses GPS, regular LTE network, and it's universal, meaning AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon. It jumps from network to network based on which one's sending the strongest signal at any given moment. It connects with Wi-Fi, and it also uses Bluetooth communication between your smartphone and the collar. Now, when it comes to battery life, obviously, using all of those things affects the battery life of the Halo more significantly, but the Halo 3rd generation is only designed to last for about 24 hours, and in practice, it's more along the lines of 22 and a half, maybe 23 hours, even though it charges relatively quickly. 5 Series 3, on the other hand, can last up to 3 months. Now, I've had the 5 Series 3 on my dogs for over a week now, and they're still sitting in the 80% range as far as battery life. And it's constantly doing activity tracking and recording how long they sleep, how much they move, stuff like that. So it's constantly working. even though it may not necessarily be sending out a signal because the dog is in the safe zone at the time. But practically speaking, expect about a month and a half, maybe 2 months with your 5 Series collar. And if you use it a lot, if you're constantly chasing your dog down, it may reduce the lifespan of it may reduce the life of the battery between charges a little more than normal use. So which one would I recommend? Well, I have to say the 5 Series 3 I would only recommend if you don't need anything else but a tracker. If your dog is an escape artist, or you got one of those ninja assassin type dogs that just figures out a way to get out all the time, and you constantly need to track that dog, but you don't want to spend all that extra money on the Halo, then the 5 Series 3 is probably right up your alley. But if you're looking for correction, containment, and tracking, you saw how accurate the Halo was earlier in the video, and that was with a heavy tree canopy. And when I went out in the vehicle and used the find the collar feature on there to track the dog, it tracked it right down to where I was. So you get a lot more precision and you get a lot more capability with the Halo 3 collar than you do with the 5 Series. I hope you enjoyed the video today, and I hope you got something out of it, especially if you're looking at both of these collars. And like I said at the beginning of the video, feel free to check out my individual videos on the 5 Series 3 and the Halo 3. I've got reviews on both of those, and I also have an updated review on the Halo 3 as far as a 4 to 6 month check-in, because I do come back to these devices so that I can determine how well they work over the long term, and kind of show you that as well, so that you know what you're getting into for the long term. Like I said in the beginning, hit that like and subscribe button. We really appreciate you checking out our videos, and those things help us out a lot. And please leave comments. Let me know how your collar is working for you, what collar you have, and ask any questions. I always make an effort to get on here and check out the questions and give appropriate answers whenever I can. I'm pretty busy, but wait a day or two, and I'll definitely have a response to any questions y'all have in the comment section. So feel free to add your input or your questions anytime you like. And we appreciate it once again, and have a great day.